Roll my shoulders back. So welcome to this practice, which is to work with the theme of the Sagittarius full moon. This moon, which falls in May, is the theme, also known as the flower moon. And that's really what we'll be thinking of today, more of the theme of flowers. Anatomically, this sign of Sagittarius governs the hips and the thighs. So our practice will look at those two parts of our body today. And it is going to be a restorative class halfway through. So it is good if you have access to a bolster. So I shall just show you mine. So my bolster, it's like a big fat squidgy pillow cushion. Now, of course, a lot of us don't have that, in which case you may use 2 pillows tightly wrapped up with a towel, or maybe you have access to sofa cushions. So for that in mind, we're going to start, as we mean to continue, in a nice restful shape. So what we're going to do now is get the bolster or a pile of cushions and place them behind our heart. So if you do have a bolster or something of this shape, you would kind of set it up like this, basically so you can lean back. Now, if you haven't, don't worry, you can get a wrapped up towel and take it behind your shoulder blades. But we just want to gently settle ourselves down. And we're looking for a little opening across the chest. So you might just need to lengthen the back of your neck by tucking the chin and take your palms out wide. So the full moon is all about abundance, celebrating all that we have, and a time for gratitude. So we'll begin by bringing our awareness to the center of the heart. And take a full deep breath into that space behind your breastbone. Linger at the top of the breath, and then breathe in some more. And take a long, slow exhale out. This is called climbing breath. It's good for anxiety, teasing open the lung tissue. So a 2-part breath in. Breathe into center of the heart. Breathe in some more on top. Long exhale breath out. And just do this 3 to 4 more rounds, just as a way to come into presence, to settle yourself. And if it's comfortable, you might have your eyes closed. Otherwise, let there be just a soft gaze. And there is a quote from Meister Eckhart: if the only prayer you ever say is thank you, it is enough. So perhaps calling to mind one thing that you're truly grateful for. And just start to check in with your body now as the back of your head relaxes on the bolster or your cushions. Notice your hips and thighs. We'll all be thinking about these a little bit more today. Notice if there's any tension or tightness there. Can you soften? Notice your thighs, your calves, your feet. Can you relax there a little bit? And start to bring a more even tone to the breath now, breathing in for your count of 4 or 5. Breathing out for the same count. And we call this samavritti, which means equal breath or equal fluctuations. 3 more rounds of that breath. So the Sagittarian full moon, or the moon that falls in May, is also known as the flower moon because of all the amazing, colourful flowers that are in bloom at the moment. It's such a beautiful time of year. And there's a quote from Osho: your mind is a garden, your thoughts are the seeds. You can plant flowers or you can plant weeds. So just noticing as we begin this practice, the quality of your thoughts today. What will they grow into if you keep leaving them unchecked? So remembering this is mindfulness practice. We're mindful of thoughts as well as our bodily sensations. And if our thoughts aren't blooming, blossoming flowers, just be kind to yourself about that. But just recognizing our tendency to wander into doom and gloom scenarios and bring your awareness back to your breath. So I appreciate it can be really hard to come off a bolster once you're on it and you can feel so comfortable. I promise we will be returning there today in this practice. But for now, let's come up to a comfortable seat. So whatever it is that you've been lying on, just moving it out to the side. And just come to roll your shoulders back and sit upright. And we're going to begin today with a mudra, which is called a Padma mudra, the lotus mudra, because it's like a little flower. Take your thumbs together and your little fingers together and draw this lotus towards the heart space. Symbolic of a new beginning, just like all that life and beauty that nature is showing us all around us. So taking a full deep breath in, long exhale out, and then to start to lift that lotus all the way up to the sky. Maybe gaze up to your thumbs now, take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, lean to your left as the right arm comes up and over your ear, and then just turn your heart towards the sky. And as you breathe in, we're breathing all the way into the right waist. And then just big circles. So bringing your fingers forward, just like the full moon, a really big circle. Maybe taking the arm behind you. So kind of notice what's going on in your shoulders here. So we're not forcing, we're just easing it in. And the next time that right arm is up, we're just going to lift ourselves up and take the right arm across the midline of the body. We rest it on the left shoulder. Knee. Your left fingers now are like little roots. Can you root them down to rise up in the spine? And as you draw your belly in, turn to look over that left shoulder and take a really sweet deep breath there. Exhale, soften the shoulders. One more deep breath. So this is strange. Watch the choreography here. This left arm is going to come all the way up and over and crisscross its way over the right elbow so it sits on the right knee. Exhale, lean back. Inhale, lift up. A little bit of cat and cow in the spine. Exhale, lean back. Inhale, we lift up. And then we lift these arms up and we're either going to hug ourselves here or come into Garudasana arms, that of the eagle. So that means the backs of the palms come together, or the palms. Breathe in, lift up your arms, tuck your chin and just breathe into any tightness you might be feeling there at the back of the neck and the back of the shoulders. Full deep breath. And another one. And then bring those arms down and then keep your head facing forward as your arms move to the right. And I sometimes squash my microphone here. So as your arms to the right, we're just looking for a little stretch on the outer left shoulder blade. Often our shoulders can get tight in the morning if we've slept funny. And breathe. One more deep breath. And release. And then take those fingers now to your shoulders as you do big circles with the elbows. So to find balance, let's lean back and take those legs in the opposite cross. So opposite shin in front, doesn't really matter which one. Let's again take that lotus mudra to the heart space. So just holding that flower that grows in the dark, dirty, dingy waters. And there's a lovely quote, no mud, no lotus. So breathe in, let's lift up those arms, take a huge breath in. This time we lean to the right, and as the right arm comes up, the left arm comes all the way up and over the ear. We breathe all the way down to the left waist. And then we just paint those big circles. Maybe as it's such a colourful time of year, think about your favourite colour that you're painting around you, this lovely little energy bubble. And then just pause there, letting that arm come all the way up and over. And then lift yourself up. Take that arm across. So we rest it on the right knee and we take the right fingers behind and we grow so tall as we inhale, just like a little plant. Root to rise. And then we start to rotate the spine. So breathing in. Perhaps you're noticing breath in your back left shoulder blade. And now we sweep this right arm up and we take it to the left knee. So we lean ourselves back as we exhale. As we inhale, we blossom open the heart. Exhale, we tip back. Inhale, we blossom open. Just one more of those, moving with your breath. And then we come up. And once again, we might hug ourselves, or we might take the backs of the palms together or the palms. And as we breathe in, we lift up. And just tuck the chin. Notice where in your body you feel your tight spots, because that's where the tension is. We drop the elbows a little. We keep our head looking forward. We move our arms to the left, maybe this time feeling a little tug there in the outer right shoulders. And we breathe into that. And we come back to center. And just very briefly interlace the palms behind you now, or hook your thumbs, and breathe in, lift your heart up. And start to maybe move those hands away from you until you feel tightness. And that's where we pause to breathe. Notice if you add tension to that tightness by gritting your teeth. And release. And then just shake out your wrists. So let's come on to all fours now as we come into some cat and cow. So this time of year is a very creative, optimistic time. So let's add a little bit of that to our practice now. As we breathe in, we raise the heart. As we exhale, we tuck the chin and round into the upper back. So this is cat and cow, as you're probably familiar with. You might now add a little bit of your own creative edge to this. So you might start to circle over your wrists, sit back onto the hips, the heels, figures of 8, just what helps you feel good in your body. So again, the sign of Sagittarius governs the hips, the thighs, so perhaps thinking of those as you stretch them a little bit. And then let's come to what we call a neutral spine. So as we breathe in now, we're going to extend that right leg behind you. This is strange. We're going to take our right knee behind the left knee. So almost, crossed, crisscrossed, and then see how wide you can get the feet out to the side. So if you're familiar with Gomukhasana, it's almost like we're going into that. And then just come back and come up again. So we're stretching into those hips. And while we're here, we'll turn our right hand with the fingers facing towards the knees. So stretching into our carpal bones here, the wrist bones. So this shouldn't hurt. It will feel strong. Make sure you're not being unkind to your body. And again, notice your thoughts. Are they flowers or weeds? Let's shake out that right hand now, face it back. We're now going to straighten that right leg and take it to the side of your mat. So we're coming into a side back. And then just spread your fingers like a little bloom blossoming. This is a stretch with your right foot down. You might lift up your right leg. See what medicine your body needs today, and take 3 deep breaths there. And we don't always have to work hard. One more smooth breath. Once the breath is no longer smooth, nor is our nervous system. Let's take that right hand down, and this time we're going to take the right foot forward to the outside of the hand. So again, getting into our hips, let's come forward and back. So notice how this feels. We're stretching the hips and the thighs. For a slightly stronger stretch, you might start to walk your hands sort of a quarter way round to the back knee. So again, just notice if that is serving you, or if that suddenly now becomes too strong. Maybe then you start to walk back forwards. We're just loosening into the hips. And now making a footprint with that right foot, we rise up to a low lunge. Reach those fingers high, take the mudra of the lotus again, and just sink in and out of this little lunge. As we sink down now, let's lift our heart towards the sky. Open your arms wide like a cactus, and we're taking the left arm on top. So same thing we just did in the warm-up. There's a bind maybe, or a hug. Breathe in, lift up your arms. As you exhale, tuck the chin and fold towards the ground. Breathing in, we lift up the arms. Exhale, we fold. And this time, as we lift up, we're going to unravel our arms and turn to the right. So open those arms really wide for a twist. Take a deep breath in. And then take your left hand to the ground as the right arm comes up and over your ear. So another twist. 3 deep breaths. And if you wish, you can lift the left knee. And again, notice the thoughts. Flowers or weeds, what will they grow into? Right hand comes down. Let's come back to downward facing dog. And just take a moment. You might notice one of your legs feels different.
And again, add your little bit of creativity here. Do you wish to pedal the feet a little bit, lift up the heels? So these are our roots, just easing into them. And we'll come forward now into a plank pose. Breathe your way forward. As you come forward, kick back into the heels, lengthen your spine. See if you can stay here, just building a bit of strength. And then rock onto your knees, roll the body down to the ground. And we're going to come up for a sphinx here. So elbows under shoulders, hands are flat. Lift up the heart now and breathe into the center of the chest. We're just going to add a little neck stretch. Take the left ear to the left shoulder. Breathe into the right side of your neck. And then circle the chin. Right ear to right shoulder. Breathe into the left side of the neck. Back to center. Either stay here or take the hands back a little bit now so they're level with the upper chest. And press into your toes as you lift up for a little cobra there. Breathing out, roll back down again. Inhale, rise up. So stay with the Sphinx if the back's a little bit tender today. Final time, let's stay up this time. Maybe you hover your hands, building up a bit of back strength. Hands come down, knees wide. Let's briefly sit back in a child's pose. So for this child's pose, we're still working with our shoulders, the heart chakra. Take your thumbs together and hands in front of you like prayer. And then take your thumbs to the nape of the neck. Maybe you wiggle the elbows forward. So breathing into the upper back. Deepen the breath. Then take the hands back down again. Let's come back to all fours. So just going to do that little set of shapes on the other side. Breathing in, the left leg comes back, gazing forward. As we breathe out, we take the left knee behind the right knee, and we take those feet as wide as we can. Slowly, we move forward and back. Option to turn the left fingers. So the full moon is shining a light on everything we have to be grateful for, the abundance and love. And our hands are how we show that love. So just giving them a bit of care there. And then take that left hand back as we lengthen the left leg back for the stretch. So right hand comes down, left arm rises. And reach into those fingers. Again, this is a stretch. For strength, we lift up the left leg. So you choose what you need the most and just take 3 deep breaths. And keep blossoming open the hands, the feet. And then we come back to all fours and we take that left foot forward. So once again, we're coming into our hips, forward and back. Noticing any differences in sides because we're all quite asymmetrical. And then maybe we start to walk round towards the right knee. So keeping that left knee pointing forward there as we do this. Sometimes we need more stretch, sometimes we need less. Let's walk our way forwards again. And as we press into the left foot, we root down so that we can rise up. Holding that mudra of the lotus, breathing in, we lift up and we sink down. Let's lift and lower a little bit. As we lunge forward, let's open those arms wide. This time, right elbow crosses left. So again, it might be a bind. It might be that you hug yourself. Breathing in, we lift those arms up. Exhale, we fold. So the closer we get to the ground, the more of a stretch we get for our hips. So you remember, you're always in control of the volume button. And then we unravel as we take a twist to the left. Open those palms wide. Take a deep, deep breath in. And then right hand comes down, left arm comes over the ear, and turn towards the sky now as you take a deep breath into this twist. Maybe you lift your back knee. Keep the breath full and smooth and deep. And then as the left hand comes down, we step back to all fours or to downward facing dog. And we come to child's pose, we come to sphinx, or we take a vinyasa. We breathe our way forwards, lower to the ground. Breathing in, we lift the heart up. Exhale, downward facing dog. And take a full deep breath in. The breath away. And let's lift up the toes. Lift up the heels, just roll over the feet. Again, really checking in with your roots. And slowly, let's walk towards the front of the mat. Breathe in, we take a flat back. Breathe out, we fold. Soft bend in the knees now as we breathe and way up to a standing position. As we breathe out, we take the hands to the back of the mat, to the heart. And once again, with your eyes closed, taking that Padma Mudra. Breathing in, breathing out. So a very short standing sequence today because we are going to come onto the ground. And we're thinking again about the hips. So as you breathe in, lift up your right knee. As you breathe out, flex your foot, come to what we call standing pigeon. So that it's like a figure 4 shape. We might start to sink down a little bit until we feel a sufficient stretch. Some of us might get forearms to the hamstring. Some of us might get fingers to floor. Just keep breathing, that's all that matters. And then press into that left foot as you lift that right knee up. Big deep breath in. Then we're going to come into a balance. So can you come into a version of Warrior 3? We kick that heel back. Now you might have your hands on the floor or the sofa here, but just lengthen the spine as you take 2 deep breaths. Drop that right heel and bend into the left knee. We're unraveling now into Warrior 2. And as you gaze forward, press into the back foot and the back, reach into your back fingers, and then breathe in, lengthen the palms up. Exhale, ground the energy as the palms come down. Do that 3 more times. Inhale, we straighten. Exhale, we ground. And we ground ourselves at the full moon because it is a time of heightened energy. Final time. And then pause in stillness, feeling both of your feet there as you take 3 deep breaths. Take this right arm now, wrap it around your waist and lean your upper body back, breathing into the left side of the body. 2 more breaths. We lift ourselves back up to Warrior 2. Straighten the front leg. Take your hands to your hips and turn your right heel in. So we're in a pose called Goddess now. Good hip stretch. Bend down into your knees and take your arms wide into a cactus. Inhale, lean to the side. Doesn't matter which one. Breathing in, we come back up again. Exhale, lean to the other side. Inhale, we come back up again. Back to side 1. Breathing in, we lift, back to side 2. And now as we come up into a Goddess with cactus arms, see if you can lift up both your heels. That's really going to strengthen the hips there. See if you can do all of that without gritting your teeth. Really good. And now let's come to a forward fold. So parallel your feet. Let the head be weighty and heavy and just start to sway a little bit into your hips. So you can see here that I've got my bottom quite far from the ground. You might come all the way down. So this is another option. So it really depends on your hips. Pose we call Skandasana. So we're all different. We all do different things. Our bodies need different things. Come back to center now. Pause there in stillness. Take a deep breath in. Breathe away everything that's gone. Let's go up halfway, hands to hips. And then we breathe all the way up to stand. Take a moment there, let the energy settle. We're doing very little else standing up really, then we're going to come into lovely restful poses. Let's turn the left foot forward. We're going to finish this side with triangle. We bring the arms out really wide and then we lean to the side. So we might touch the foot, we might be higher up. What's really important is that our shoulders are in line. And then if you feel steady, gaze up to that right thumb. Press into your little toes now. Feel those inner thighs start to engage because remember Sagittarius governs the thighs. And reach up to your fingers. And again, open the hand like you're blossoming. 3 deep breaths. And then we slowly lift up. Warrior two. Take a deep breath. Option to step to the front of the mat or come through a vinyasa. Hands come down, leg comes back. Breathe your way forward. Otherwise, stand at the top of the mat with your hands in the Padma Mudra. Coming all the way back to downward facing dog. If you're moving, lift up your heels. Maybe this time you hop towards the front of the mat. Breathing in, take a flat back. Breathing out, you fold. Breathing in all the way up to stand. Exhale, hands to heart. Close down the eyes. Once again, take that blossoming mudra out of the lotus. And the message here is that without the dark times, we don't find our light. So we need the lightness in the dark. One more deep breath. Hands together. This time we're going to be standing on our right leg as we lift up the left knee. Flex your foot. Flex that left foot just below the right knee, coming into your standing pigeon. So again, you can be quite high up. Hands can be on shin or fingers to the ground. Just keep breathing. That's all that really matters. And John Kabat-Zinn said, as long as you're breathing, there's more right with you than wrong with you. So just, again, remind us of all that we have to be grateful for. Slowly we lift up. We may wobble along the way. Let's lift up that left knee. Let's come in to warrior three. So again, you might have your fingers on the sofa, on the floor. Just find a way to balance. Balancing is really good for our bones. Press those thighs back again. Remember the thighs and the hips. And then we come back to warrior two. Extend those arms out wide. So this is a good hip stretch. The lower you get down and bend the knee, the more we're stretching those hips. Gaze forward to that middle finger. Breathe in, we lengthen up. Exhale, we ground the energy. 3 more of those moving. And now we stay in stillness, feeling your roots, the toes rooting you down as you reach into your fingertips. 3 deep breaths. And now this left hand goes to the back waist and we lean our upper body back. Breathing into your reverse warrior, so focusing all awareness onto the right lung. Again, keep bending deeply to stretch into the hips and the thighs. Back to warrior two. Let's turn that left heel in. And once again, we're in the goddess pose. So this time we cactus those arms up again. Maybe take another mudra, chin mudra, index finger and thumb touching. Just sink deeply now. Move those knees away from each other. Feel the power of your thighs. And breathe. So if you really want to fire this up again, you might lift up the heels, but notice we don't have to force ourselves to do more. So just notice why you make those choices. One more deep breath. And let's drop it down. Once again, let's parallel the feet. Let's come all the way down to the ground. Press your thighs back. That's how we stretch into the hamstring. Shift the weight slightly forward onto your toes, then shift the weight back onto your heels. And notice we tend to avoid the one that brings us the most sensation. So can you lean into perhaps what doesn't always feel so good? So very shortly, we're going to come into beautiful restful poses. Let's hang heavy here now with the head. Let all those thoughts drop out of your skull. Just visualize you giving them to the earth. And now you decide, is this what you need today to be a little still? Or do you want to come back to stretching those hips? In which case we walk from side to side. We might add a little lift of the arms as well. Just start to unravel any tightness in the shoulders. Every day is different. We just need to listen to the body as it is today. And come back to center. Once again, find stillness as you take a full breath in. Press into your roots, your feet. And slowly come up. And we pause at the top. Close your eyes. There's always an echo of each shape. What's this echo?
And let's turn to face the front of the mat again. So again, triangle pose. Press into your feet, arms out wide. We lengthen forward towards that right foot. Then we take the hand down. And then consciously feel your roots as you press into the little toes, rotating those thighs inwards. Reach into the left fingers. 3 full, very deep breaths. And there's no getting it right or getting it wrong. We're just here to blossom. Spread those fingers. Just showing up to care for ourselves. Let's look down to the right foot. Breathe your way up. So again, there's the option of a vinyasa. This will be the last one today. You might take your hands either side, coming back to the dog. Smoothly coming forward. Lowering to the earth. And this time, we're going to settle into child's pose. So feet wide, head is down. Earlier, we took our hands together and the thumbs at the nape of the neck. Maybe you explore that again, or just come to a place that you can rest. And be here now. Visualize the sun on your back as you plant this little seed. And breathe. And again, visualizing all thoughts dissolving as you press your forehead into the earth. So we're going to come into some yin poses now and restorative. So these poses are 2 minutes each or so, and we practice, each one is a little pathway into meditation. So our first pose today, after saying that, is actually 3 minutes, and it is a supported bridge. So I'm going to show you on my bolster. You might have books or cushions or something else. So it's a little back bend with support. So taking your feet in front of you, you sit in front of the support that you have, and then you lift yourself up and walk yourself back. You can also do this with a pile of books. So great pose here. If you're exhausted, because it boosts your adrenals. You might take your arms overhead. That gives you a little shoulder stretch. You might rest your hands on your tummy. See whatever it is that you need to do. So I'm going to come up now because I've got these little timers. This one is for 3 minutes. I'm going to set my egg timer for 3 minutes. At the end of the 3 minutes, you're going to hear a bell. The bell is a call back to the present moment. So when you hear the bell, you take 3 more deep breaths. Each breath gets a little longer and deeper, and you finish with a sigh. If it's comfortable, you can straighten your legs in this one. Some people can. Some people, that's just too much of a pull on the back. And always, as we still the body, the mind starts to move. So anchor your awareness onto this next breath. And now this next breath. Now this one. And if the mind just will not be still today, remember the first teaching of the Buddha, simply to repeat, I am breathing in, I am breathing out. So we don't beat ourselves up if the mind wanders, we just recognize that it's doing it. And we come back to this next breath. So I'm going to leave you here now in 2 minutes, just focusing on your breath. And if you catch yourself wandering, you just come back, there's no drama. And again, noticing the mind's inevitable tendency to wander. Notice if it's wandering into the domain of flowers or weeds.
And just notice, that's all, and then we come back. So in some traditions, the bell is a call back to presence. So just notice the bell. Take 3 more deep breaths, each breath getting a little deeper. And we finish with a sigh. So be very careful now how you come off the bolster, because we don't want it to yank the back. So what I would say is just elevate your hips slightly, lift up your heels and press the bolster towards your feet, which is where our next pose will be. And this is supine butterfly. So one option is to keep your feet on the bolster or the cushions and let your knees drop out to the side. That is just the perfect variety for my body. Some of you might prefer to take your feet over the bolster, your knees out to the side. That gives you a little bit more support. For others, you might not want a bolster at all, which will give you more of a stretch. So again, you choose what's best for you, and this will be for 2 minutes. So resting your hands on your belly now and directing your awareness there. Try not to let the hands touch, because that can disturb the flow of energy. As you inhale, you might feel the hands slightly rising. As you exhale, let the hands rest. And if you like a mudra, if you like to work with mudras, I would say take your thumbs together and index fingers touching. So it's like you've got a diamond shape. This is a mudra for creativity, Yoni Mudra. Because we are in that creative cycle of nature where everything that we planted is coming into full bloom and blossom. And this beautiful flower moon at this time of early summer. So stay with the breath, notice where your mind is going, and just gently, gently keep nudging it back to this next breath. Here for about another minute. And taking this time out to restore your energy is so vital, especially at a time of heightened activity such as the full moon or the summer. Of course, we're both at the moment. There's so much more going on. 3 more deep breaths. And then as you come off the bolster altogether now, we're going to move the bolster to the left, although you won't need it just yet. So as the bolster comes to the left, just take a moment to straighten both your legs. You might rub around your hip flexors, those tops of your thighs there. And then bring your right knee in towards you, a pose called Apanasana, which actually means wind relieving pose. So you can decide why as we massage our ascending colon here. So guide that right knee towards the right armpit and just gently mobilize your hip. Just move it side to side. Go so gently. So we're looking after our hips, thighs here, but not in a forceful way. And now we're going to take tree pose. So let that right knee come out to the side. The right foot snuggles somewhere onto the left thigh. Notice if it's achy, in which case put a little cushion or something under your right knee. Maybe lift the arms overhead. That just eases out tight shoulders. Take them to a Y shape. So that symbol of growth and creativity and roots, of course, is the tree. So from here, again, it's for 2 minutes. Breathing in through the nose. Tiny pause at the top of your breath. A long breath out through the nose. Notice everything that tries to take you somewhere else. The mind is always looking for distractions. Iyengar said the brain is the stiffest muscle. So just we're training it now to be present, because when we're present, we experience life as it actually is, as it's unfolding. We can't experience that if we're somewhere else. Staying present to the breath, perhaps staying present to the sounds in your living space. And just keep guiding yourself back every time you notice that you might have gone somewhere else. And again, we're here for 3 minutes, 2 minutes, sorry. But another minute to go. Three deep breaths. Finishing with that long, sighing breath out. Ah. So from the tree pose, we're going to bring that leg back and just extend. So this Sagittarius full moon also governs the liver, and in Yin Yoga, the liver line runs at the back seam of the leg. So holding onto the back of the thigh, press your heel towards the sky, and maybe guide that left thigh towards you. So we're stretching out this, in acupuncture theory, the liver line at the back of the leg. Just take about 4 deep breaths. Notice you might now be tensing your shoulders, and stop and breathe. Notice if you've shortened the back of the neck, can you tuck the chin? Because that's what we do when we're tense. And then once again, let's bend the knees. We did a little while ago, and move that knee side to side ever so briefly. And then we finish here with a twist. So we're taking that right knee all the way across the body now, so it's resting on the bolster. We're lying flat on our back if we can, so make sure your right shoulder blade is on the ground or on a cushion. And then maybe you look over to your right elbow. That's a double twist. If the neck doesn't like that, stay looking forward. So I'm going to sit up so I can time you again here as we're here for 2 minutes. So these longer holds help us penetrate the connective tissue. So we move down below the muscles and we start to loosen up the tissue that surrounds our joints and gets very tight as we get older. So staying still can be a real gift as well as really difficult too. So find your breath and see if you can settle here for just over a minute. And again, if the mind is busy, give it something to do. Repeating, I am breathing in, I am breathing out, or perhaps a simple breath count, breathing in for 1, breathing out for 1. And just notice every time you find yourself drifting off. So we're just here for 1 more minute in the twist. But just to remind you, we're lying on the ground. We've got the right knee across the body into a twist. So using that support that's there to hold you. We've got about 1 more minute left. So it's an interesting concept working with the full moon. So some people think it's, not interested, but there are more admissions to hospitals. More babies are born. And the origin of the word lunacy comes from lunar. So for some people, we can really feel the effect of this change of energy. So there's our 2 minutes up. Let's take 3 more deep breaths. Remember, we're trying to ground and slow ourselves now, working with our hips and our thighs, the liver, the back of the leg, and slowly come back up. And before we do all of those shapes on side 2, just come to what we call constructive rest. The knees are bent, and just notice if one side feels a little different. You might notice there's a sense of more looseness around the right side. So we might get the bolster ready or the cushions ready next to the right hip, but of course we won't be using it quite just yet. So from there, we extend that right leg long and we lift the left knee up. So Apanasana, we're easing into our descending colon now as we slowly move that leg side to side. Notice as we involve the hands, we involve the shoulders, so make sure your shoulders are relaxed. And then we're taking tree pose with the knee out to the left. So the right foot might be on the, left foot might be on the right leg or a little bit away. It's more about bending the left knee. And again, you might want support under your knee. So the symbol of growth and creativity, of course, is the tree. So 2 minutes here, simply coming to this quiet place of stillness, breathing in and breathing out. And as we're at that time of the practice now where we have really slowed down our thinking, perhaps you could drop a contemplation in. So contemplations, we don't try to answer them with our analytical mind. We just let them settle. And maybe our heart responds over the next day or 2. The constant contemplation is, what would you like to grow? What energy would you like to grow? What seeds of ideas over this next little period up until the summer solstice in June? What energy would you like to grow and cultivate? What new plans? So again, don't rush to answer. Sometimes it feels there's nothing there, but the answers are there if we create space to allow them to rise. Just a few more breaths here, focusing on breath coming in and breath going out. Notice what it feels like to slow down. We're not so good at it. And we can't be creative if we're always racing from one project to the next. Here we go. The bell. So 3 more deep breaths. And then again, stimulating the acupuncture line for the liver, we're extending that left leg up. So stretching into our hamstrings. You might stay here with a little bend in the knee, or you might start to draw that leg a little closer to you. Notice this can make you grit your teeth. So just easing into the back of the leg, perhaps point and flex the foot. And then our final stretch and pose before we rest is to the twist again. So we're bending that left knee. And again, maybe there's a bolster to catch you. Again, I'll just move mine here so you can see. And then we bring that leg across the midline of the body. And as that leg lands, we wiggle ourselves. So ideally, we can get our left shoulder blade onto the ground. And then we might take our arms into a cactus or a T shape. And depending on our neck, we might look over the left shoulder. There's a lot of mites there. We might not. We might look over the right shoulder, left shoulder, otherwise the right. So 2 minutes, this is our final shape before we rest. And we breathe. So we've been talking about flowers today. And this is a poem by Haffey from centuries and centuries ago. And it's about our unrealized talents when we hide ourselves away. It's called It Felt Love. How did the rose ever open its heart and give to the world all of its beauty? It felt the encouragement of light against its being. Otherwise, we all remain too frightened. And the translation of this poem or explanation from a book by William Sieghart is, we all know others who could be capable of incredible things if only they dared. Like us, they might need only one thing to be seen and to feel the light of encouragement shine on them. Yes, it can be dazzling. It may destabilize us for a moment. But remember that light is not just exposure, it is also revelation. Open yourself up like a rose, and you will be the richer for it. The world will be too. So just a few more breaths. Perhaps contemplating how you'd like to bloom and grow in this next lunar cycle. Three more deep breaths. Just take a moment to notice how it feels to really slow down. Sometimes this can be the greatest gift that we can give ourselves. And now let's come onto our back. If you do have your bolster nearby, it can be quite nice to put it under the backs of your knees if you've got any lower back issues. It can be good to put it on top of your body if you're feeling a little bit overwhelmed, just a bit of weight. Come to wherever you can rest. And this is where we let go. So we trust that those seeds have been planted, trust that they will bloom when the time is right. And now we surrender everything to Mother Earth. Let yourself fall into the earth and get really heavy. As you breathe in, take a deep breath in through the nose. As you breathe out, soften all your facial features. Notice your breath rising from the belly into the upper chest. As you breathe out, feel the weight of your shoulders as you let them release. Direct your breath all the way down to the hips, the pelvis, the backs of the thighs, the calves, the feet, and let your roots be rested. Just feel into your whole body now as you breathe in to your whole body, your whole body.
So we're drawing towards the end of our time together today, and I would encourage you, if you have time, to stay here longer. So I'm going to quietly close the practice today, but if you're feeling the benefits of rest, then please do stay for as long as you can. You're breathing in. I'm just going to close the practice formally, lifting my arms towards the sky. Breathing out, hands to the heart, finishing with that mudra of the lotus, with light that's always there in your heart. Namaste.